Alright, what is going on, everyone? Lovely little scenery we have out here in RuneScape today. Basically, what we are going to be doing today is, this is a question I've had in the game for a while. I guess I've never really tested it because for the most part it just seemed natural. I've never seen anyone using Chinchompas at greater Nechryaels, whether on a Slayer task or not. People love Chinchompas because they make for the fastest range training in the game, and people love Nechryaels because you can make a little bit of money back whenever you kill them. The greater Nechryaels actually drop a decent amount of alchables, so you do gain back a good amount of cash on your task. Now basically the logic here is not a lot of people think that Chinchompas are going to be worth it because, you know, you just spend so much throwing per hour, and Nechryaels are really hard to pile up. But for the most part, I've never heard about it, more than likely because it isn't that viable, but that's what I'm here to test today. I have a lot of things that I want to know about it, and the video was recommended recently. Now currently I have a task of 215. I'm going to go and start testing this now, but first I got to gear up, and I'll kind of explain the thought process as to how you want to kill it. So here we are looking at pretty much the price of chins right now. Regular chins are only 920, which is I think really nice compared to what they I don't know, 920 seems pretty cheap. Red chins are 1560. Definitely think I'm gonna go with the regular chins. Obviously red chins are a little bit of a kick up, but I don't think that red chins are typically worth it over the regulars. The regulars are just a little bit more annoying to actually use. As far as how I'll be luring these, now there is one thing, and that's I have an alt. I don't think I'll be using it. Instead I'll use a blowpipe, and I think I'm gonna buy a Din's Bulwark as well, just to get the fastest rates possible to give you guys a real idea of what you could achieve. Here we are now. I mean, I don't necessarily have to show you how to gather all of them. I'm sure you guys have a decent clue, but there we go. I'll just show you kind of what I'm looking at. So whatever you can't gather with the Dins, you're going to want to grab with the blowpipe real quick. And then basically what we're going to look for here is, I mean, just run them all into a pretty decent square to where your chins can actually hit them. So here's where the power of editing comes in. Basically what I go on to talk about now is how you should attack the death spawns. The death spawns are spawned by the Nechryaels and actually have a lower range defense. Now this makes sense if you're not someone on task. After I thought about it a little bit, if you're attacking the death spawns, that's not your task, thus you won't get the Slayer Helm bonus. So if you're doing this on task, definitely going to want to attack the Nechryaels. If you're doing it off task, you're going to want to attack the death spawns, I do believe. The mechanics of Chinchompas are a little weird, but that seems to make the most sense to me. So whenever you attack a monster, basically it attacks everything in the box around it. So whenever we're attacking these death spawns, anything 2 blocks away will not be attacked, so you're going to want to kind of run back and forth. This isn't going to be much of a guide on how to do it, but yeah, for the most part, you get the idea, and this is going to be what I am testing. So keep in mind, I will be using the death spawns as the target. Another added benefit to actually using Chinchompas here, even though I didn't take advantage of it and I'm going back for it now, is that you are actually able to high alch. With anything such as Ancients where you're doing burst or barrage spells, you won't be able to actually alch the items that you get. However, since you're using range, you can stay on the regular spell book. Alright, here we are back again, trying out another inventory. So far I've killed like 50 or so testing it out, and honestly it seems, I haven't calculated the rates at which I throw chins. That's 7.5 chins per kill of Nechryaels, and honestly that's not a ton when we consider that 7 of them only, or 7.5 of them, pretty much about 7k in total GP per Nechryael. It's not a ton, especially when you're considering you're getting some pretty good range XP. And so here we are after finishing off my task. I think I have a decent understanding as far as what you guys can expect to use per hour. So we'll start with the XP rates. As far as those go with greater Nechryaels, you're going to be getting 290k XP per hour. Now this obviously is assuming regular Chinchompas, and personally I have 97 range. However, I scaled back the rate closer to people around 91, since that's middle of the road as far as XP wise to 99. Figured that'd be best, but obviously just, you know, work with it depending on what level you are. In addition to that, you can average about 51k Slayer XP at that rate as well, which is not too bad at all as far as Slayer goes. Now what else is going to matter when you're using these Chinchompas is how much you use per hour and how much you get back. So we'll start with the amount of supplies that you use per hour. As far as Chinchompas go, I was personally using close to 1500 per hour. Now you can throw more than this. However, whenever you're killing these Nechryaels, if you don't have an alt luring them, you'll have to stop attacking, you know, throw a few darts, maybe have a Din's Bulwark spell, something along those lines. So you can definitely improve this just by being faster and more efficient with your clicks, but for the most part, this will be around what you average. Assuming that you're using great Chinchompas, this comes in at about 1.4 mil per hour. And then along with that, you have some miscellaneous type of supplies, anything you'll have to use in your inventory, your blowpipe, stuff like that, comes in about 110k, which makes for a total of close to 1.5 mil GP that you're spending per hour. So I mean, a pretty high amount, but all in all, not a ton, I guess. Now, if we go and compare that to how much loot you'll be getting back, if you average 51k Slayer XP, which is what we were assuming before, this comes out to 242 Nechryael kills per hour. The average loot, which comes out to closer to 5.7k, however, I lowered that a little bit just because you can't collect everything here. I took this number from Azuka Yen's video. Basically, he has a video where he did 25k Nechryael kills, so that's going to be the best sample size we can get for this. And then for the total loot that you can expect back per hour off of that, it's close to 1.2 mil. So now if you have an alt, you actually have more inventory space and more flexibility, so you can boost XP rates and pick up more loot per hour. However, I'm going to assume that you probably don't have one. Alright, so all of this ends up coming out to, basically, if we subtract what we end up using and what we get back in return, 263k as far as a cost per hour. Now this is at a decently high range level. The lower levels that you'll have, you'll still be throwing the same amount of chins, however won't be getting back the same amount of XP, so that will really make it vary. Obviously test it a little bit yourself if you want to, but basically what you can expect with this method is a 263k cost per hour and get close to 300k ranging XP and 51k Slayer XP, obviously if you're on task. All in all, that's absolutely insane. I mean, whenever you compare it to other things, this is like a 1 GP per XP as far as range goes, which is really, really nice, especially how fast you get it. And with how much using a blowpipe recently has been, it's crazy how worth it is to do. Now we'll finish with some comparisons. So we have all the info we need on greater Nechryaels. Now, as far as if you want to compare this to other things, there's a lot to really consider. It's very hard for me to do this, so there's no structured way for me to go about it. Basically, what I'll say as far as chinning at Nechryaels goes is if you're comparing it to something like Vorkath, Vorkath's going to be the best money that you can get in game for the most part, unless you're running alts or doing other. I mean, for the most part, it's very close to being the best money in the game, and if you can do that efficiently, you're also training range while you do that, so thus it'll always be the most efficient way to train range. Like, it can't be better unless there becomes another money-making method that's better than Vorkath. Then there's a comparison to be had, but right now, Vorkath by far and away is better, so never. I mean, obviously, if you are debating that, then don't. Just stop. Now, whenever we compare Nechryaels to something like blowpiping, I didn't even put it up here on screen. It's just not going to be worth it. Blowpipe is so expensive and so much less XP per hour that in no way is that going to be worth it for you. And then ultimately comparing Nechryaels to maniacal monkeys, you really have a question here. I've done the entire math on it, and basically, if you have Monkey Madness 2 unlocked, you can do maniacal monkeys. It's going to be efficient for you to kill maniacal monkeys if you can get more than 1.3 mil GP per hour with any money-making method that you could do. So typically, if you're a medium to high-level account that can do Zora, that means it's not worth it for you to actually chin while doing Nechryaels. However, this comes with the caveat that you get no Slayer XP from killing maniacal monkeys, you get Slayer XP from killing Nechryaels. Really what this means, since you get so much Slayer XP per hour killing Nechryaels, if you care at all about Slayer XP, it is going to be more efficient for you to do chinning at Nechryaels than it's going to be for you to chin at maniacal monkeys. Ultimately, this comes down to another question, which is what's your magic level? Because at some point you need to balance out your Nechryaels, the ones that you'll be killing with range, the ones that you'll be killing with mage, and that's where I draw the line. That's just, all right, there we go. Went ahead and did it for you guys. I thought about it, and it made sense to do because this is something obviously everyone has to think about. I can't just throw off a question like that. So as far as mage versus range goes, now you're going to have to decide this kind of on your own, but I'll give you all of the stats you need. There's a lot of estimation here on the part of Slayer just because there's so many factors that go into it, so obviously this won't be exactly nailed down, but it should be a good estimate as to what you can expect. All in all, 1 through 99 Slayer should take you about close to 600 tasks. Now that you have abilities to unlock certain tasks for longer, it's gone down a little bit, so I've lowered that number. Assuming that you have a decent block list so that you end up canceling a lot of, bad tasks that are assigned very often, and assuming that you also cancel tasks with points every now and then because that is going to be efficient for Slayer. This means on your way to 99, you could expect along the lines of 88 Nechryael tasks and 52 Dust Devil tasks. If you don't know what the Bracelet Slaughter is, I won't explain it in depth, but basically what it allows you to do is not count off some of your Slayer kills as actual Slayer kills. You get the XP, however, you're allowed to kill more of them on task. We'll assume you're using that, and basically what this ends up meaning is that on your way to 99, you'll kill close to 10k Dust Devils and closer to 17k Nechryaels, which is just absolutely insane. Now for the Dust Devils, we will assume that you'll be using Mage no matter what. All in all, you'll be getting 2.3 mil Mage XP for that. And now this is really where it's up to you. If you want to use Mage with Nechryaels, you'll get a 7.5 mil or close to that with Mage. All in all, this will bring you up to 10 mil Mage XP, which if you have enough to be able to burst already, more than likely this is going to put you very, very close to 99. Now you have to remember there are a lot of other places to use Mage in game and a lot of other ways to train, so you don't necessarily have to do all of your Mage here. If you like to switch it up though and you want to go ahead and do range, you can get 14.4 mil range XP here. Now this is going to get you 99, which is actually pretty crazy. And even if you wanted to say only get maybe close to 8 mil range XP, you'd still allow for yourself to be able to get another 2 to 3 mil Mage XP here as well. So there's definitely a good middle point that you can reach at about 6 mil per one, and I mean, honestly that is a ton of XP when you consider that it's only from this very small sub part of Slayer that you'll be doing. Alright, so that is going to be it for this video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. It was something I definitely didn't even think was going to be worth it. I just wanted to test out the Nechryael chinning just to be able to confirm it for myself, but seeing that's actually comparable is, you know, pretty fun and interesting, I guess, and I'm happy I was able to get that out of this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the information. If you guys did, make sure to leave a like. On top of that, if you guys have anything you want to suggest to me, I had so much fun reading all the suggestions on the last video. If you guys enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe to the channel and maybe turn notifications on. I don't know, maybe you'll never see my videos. Really up in the air. But yeah, with that said, hopefully you guys have a wonderful day though, and